Well, thank you for the invite to the organization, and I will try. I need to take a look. So I'm going to talk about typography. I'm a type designer. I work here in Porto. I can talk a bit about my company. It's not out yet. It's not. We don't have the website yet, but we already are working together since August. I was working as a freelancer since 2011 as a type designer only, teaching as well, but mainly designing. But now I work with Nathaniel, and we have and Discover will be it's our name, and we have been working. So I will show you some of that work, but also talking a little bit about type and typography, because everybody asks me, and especially graphic designers, even graphic designers ask and say, why do we need more typefaces? Probably you already wonder that as well. Why does someone works and designs type every day? So for me, it's an obvious answer. Of course, we have to design more typefaces. That's my life. That's what I do. So I need to draw new typefaces every day. But it's a question that we need to talk, because it's not okay that people still think about that. So we need more typefaces. The same way we need more clothes, fashion, we need more cars, we need different solutions for products. So it's the same thing. And type design is a very ubiquitous thing, because it's there all the time. We don't look at it as, we don't think about it because it's there. So this quote is very useful, because just explaining a bit of context, that type has the culture, it carries the culture inside of it, in the letters, in the shapes, and it has all to do with the industry, with the ways you print. So everything, it has to do with the technical use of type. So everything, it's like a micro shape that has all that content of fashion, of trends, of history. So everything is there in that tiny little letter. And because graphic designers are always like questioning, why do I need? Some of them, they say, I only need 5 typefaces, that's enough. And this is true, not so much anymore, of course, but it's still there. But because graphic design needs to communicate, typography is a big issue. And of course on the web, it's even bigger, because it's 90% of the web is type. It's text and how we communicate, and it has improved a lot, and as you all know. And because many designers started to contribute to creating new typefaces for web. So when the web designers were able to use different type, the market came and gave them all this new typography to use. And some graphic designers were like, whoa, I don't know how to choose, I don't know how to use. The web designers mainly, because many of them are not graphic designers, or they don't have the background. So it's not that easy. One of the big, how do you say, the ones that gave this push to the industry on the web was Google Fonts, because it's for free, because people can actually use them now for free. So even somebody that makes a blog can have their own web fonts, which is really nice. I think it's very good, even if the typefaces are not all good, high quality. I did a few. The first 2 were Google fonts, the third one as well, and the fourth one as well. As you can, the 4 first ones were done for Google, and it was a big push as well for me as a type designer, because I was able to practice my new skills and trying to learn and getting better as a designer, and also bringing these new tools for people. It was really nice. I will talk a bit more about that weird one in the middle. The other ones are just new typefaces from the past work. Then just a little talk about type trends and what we see on the web. A lot of the typefaces this last year were almost all of them, geometric sans. so like really rounded. But this is actually a good thing because there are not many. It shows that people are starting to care a bit more about type, and we're passed by the Google Fonts thing because the Google Fonts everyone can have now. So the better companies, the good companies, they want something more authentic, more their own identity. So they start paying for type, and Geometric Sans is actually, most of them are paid for. If you see a website that uses this kind of fonts, because I think there's like one Google font, it's Montserrat, that it's a very used one, it's very beautiful, and it's very used as well because it's round and again the same style. Even in graphic design you can see this kind of typeface a lot. Well, it's a nice trend that we can see, but still serif typefaces are my thing a bit more. I like it more because I like to read, and I work a lot with the serif typefaces, and they're a bit more unknown to the public, but they're already there on the web, so they are everywhere. Lots of websites use it now, not just Georgia in text, but also, for example, this one is Teaser Pro, which is one of the it has already like 10 years, but it's a really amazing font for the web. It wasn't designed for the web, it was designed to be a really good text font. And it's used for this kind of website, if you know brain pickings, and it's like really nice to read. Also very used for applications, because now we have to think not just web, but everything that it's mobile, the iPads, I don't know, everything that has type needs different typefaces to work better on different screens, different resolutions. And because the resolution is becoming higher, we can actually see and work with beautiful serif typefaces. The identity issue is very important, as we know, and the cross-platform thing is it's already being done in many countries, especially with the news. In Portugal as well, with Publico, because the typeface they use on the web, it's the same they use on print. Of course, it's a different software, probably, because the software needs to be changed and it needs some work done to work on the web and to work on print. As the Guardian, they have like huge family to use in the newspaper and also to use on the web. Of course, on the web you have special characteristics for the letters that you need to be aware. As you can see, that it's like more squarish. They have a bigger white space. They don't have a lot of contrast, which is this idea of the thin parts and the thick parts. And you can see that it's looks almost like a sans serif. It's imitating, but it's not. You can see the serifs. So it's actually a change. So this for me it's amazing, because in the end web and all the mobile, it's using good typography, good high quality. It's not just the Google fonts, which I was part of it, I'm still a part of it. I'm not saying that it's bad, but because you have so many, some of them are not so good, or they don't have the high quality finishing, which has to do with the screen and hinting, which is a crazy word. Just another example, the Design Observer website is very different now. It has the really nice Archer typeface from Hoffler, and it has a different identity. And this is again always the thing to think about. It's the identity of the brands and everything, and keeping the text clear. So a little bit more about my work. So these new challenges for type design, and it's not only in the Latin world, as we say in type design, because we need to make a distinction between Latin alphabet and the other alphabets in the world, other writing systems, and like Cyrillic, Greek. In my case, I've worked more closely to Indian scripts for India. In the beginning, because I did it as a master degree, when I finished my master, I did a typeface, the one that you saw, the Devanagari for India. So that project, I kind of sold it to Google, and I finished it. It was really nice, working with an Indian type foundry in India. And I finished that one. But then I never thought this would happen when I finished the course, but the market was like growing, because the world is using internet now. Everybody's using the phones, and so all these new challenges came. And from Google, we had a new proposal. And this time, I worked with 3 people. I worked with an American and a Polish girl. So Evan Sorkin in the US and Victoria Grabowska in Poland. We already had met, I've met Evan before because we did the first 2 Google typefaces together as well, and I met him in person. But Victoria, I only met her after we did the project together. It was like 8 months on Skype, back and forth, no? So it takes long to make this kind of typeface. It's Devanagari, it has these strange shapes. It has a lot, you have to work a lot on the shape so it looks legible for small sizes. We did a lot of testing in mobiles, in Samsung, like Android and all the systems, so it would look very legible in 12, 10 points, and we did a lot of testing for it to look well on that size, so an Indian person could read that really fast. And it is a lot of work, but it's really interesting to think that they will have a tool for free for the user. It's not for free, no. It takes a lot of investment from Google. Well, not a lot compared to other things, of course. Type is only Google Fonts. It's 3 people. Okay, so imagine like the type department is really, really small. So this is again some pictures, some different weights. And it was quite an interesting project to work with the long distance with Victoria. We finally met together. We did a conference about the project as well. So that was quite cool. And this is all, like I said, it was like a surprise. Can we do this? Can I really do Indian typefaces? Because as you can imagine, the Indian market, they don't buy fonts. They only take them. Especially because they're not used to have different tools, for India, and so it's not very profitable to invest in Indian typefaces. Even for people in India that I know, from Satya, the guy from Indian Type Foundry, I still work with him, and I'm designing for him, but not Indian typeface. I'm doing Latin because that's what sells. Of course, we're trying. India is growing, and designers will eventually start to understand the value of it. But they still work with like legacy fonts from the 80s for newspapers and things. So things change slowly. So, but in August, as I said, I started working with Nathaniel, and now we have our company, and we did a different one. We started with this project, was a big one for Google as well, and they commissioned us. They wanted not Devanagari anymore because they have a lot now, so they wanted different scripts from India, and that's the top one is Tamil and the middle one is Malayalam, and the middle one, it's the Latin companion. It's 3 scripts. So it's a bit different. It's not for text, small text. It's more display. It had lots of different challenges because I didn't know the script so well. I had to learn a lot. So all the process we have to learn how to write, how the shapes work, investigate a lot to create this kind of project. So it took again more or less 6 months, 7 months. Of course, then the technical parts are quite challenging as well. I'm not showing so much of that because it's very techy, but it's really nice. We have a software that already supports this kind of scripts, and they were changing as well because the software, which is a bit, I can tell this story because some here people are developers and things like that. In the type community, we don't have big companies creating software for us because we are such a small community. So the people who create the software are actually type designers as well. So the software I use was created by one guy, a German guy, and I'm always on Skype. Sometimes when something goes wrong, I tell him this is wrong, or now it's already quite big because it's like 6 years, and they didn't have Malayalam, they didn't have Tamil support for the features, for the things that to make this work, to go, the dots need to go there, all these things. So in the development of the font, we were giving a lot of feedback. So the community feeds itself back. So we help the software as well to grow and to support all these languages. And right now, I think it supports all the writing systems in the world. So everything, if you want to draw Korean typeface, you have everything. And that's really amazing. And when I started, it was just Devanagari, because it's one of the more complex ones, because it's bigger. This one is a bit smaller. This is just the Latin. Yeah, it's more display. The contrast and the shapes of the Latin have to do with the Malayalam and the Tamil. They're a bit similar. Now the Tamil and Malayalam, it's not easy to see the differences, but you can see this one is more round shapes, and it has some different features. But yeah, this was like a huge project. Again, I never thought I would ever draw these typefaces. This is not the only thing we draw, of course. We design lots of different Latin typefaces, as I was saying, and we're starting to build our own library to give more to the designers. But yeah, the type on the web, it's not only Latin. No, if you go to Google Fonts, you can actually go and see all this. This one is not on live yet because they take a long time to put them in the library. But it finished in January, so it's normal. That's what I wanted to say about this global idea of web design. I don't know if anybody ever had to work with like Arabic type, or I know a few friends here in Porto that had to design a book with Arabic type, for example, or. So it's going to happen. Maybe not now, but it's something that is already happening, and I'm really happy to be a part of it with these typefaces. And again, if it wasn't for Google, I probably wouldn't do it. So I'm really happy about that. So I went too fast. So I would like to have questions now.
I have one. Which your favorite font for digital systems? Like I'd say, like user interface.
I would have to think.
There's a lot of good fonts for that.
For user interface.
Yeah. Like if you have to build something.
Somebody said Comic Sans. Actually, Comic Sans was done for a software for kids, so it was actually thought not to be good user interface.
For example, like between Helvetica or Open Sans.
I would say if you like Helvetica or you think about that model, try to find something new, that has the same feeling. But there are many nice ones in Google Fonts for that.
I'm asking that because
for the geometric, more Helvetica style.
All the time I want to build something.
Yes.
Digital system user interface. I think it's most hardest bit is that you should write fonts for that because they have different shapes, they have different. It's bold, italic, and these kind of things, and serif fonts for reading, and so we need to. It's a lot.
We need another talk for that, no? How to choose. But no, it's very important, and one of the things I think it's more important to think. I can say that type foundries are like fashion labels. Okay, so you should go and try to find which ones are the ones that have the things you need, that they kind of do the things you want. Like, for example, Swiss typefaces, they only do Helvetica versions. In the end, it's only Swiss design. So if you work a lot with Swiss design, maybe you can go to them and take a look at that and then try to go to them and ask them. Because you can ask a type designer, what do you think would be the best typeface of your library for this project? They might help, so that's also an important thing to understand, that type foundries, usually the small ones are like 3-4 people, then you have the mid ones that are like 20, and there's like 1 or 2 in the world, and then you have the big ones. And even if you go to, I don't know, My Fonts or Font Shop to buy, you can go and see who designed it and try to contact the foundry. But you have many options, of course. It's not easy, but it's the same. When you start to learn what works and what doesn't work, you have to test a lot. Yeah, and that's the work. But if you start testing and you understand, okay, these are the characteristics I like or that work, then you can kind of, okay, save this one, and then save this one. And serifs for text, like Tisa, for example, it's like perfect, but it depends on the context. It can work for brain pickings, but maybe it doesn't work for, I don't know, another website that it's more relaxed, no? Because Tisa is a bit more serious. So it really depends on the context. It's not an easy question. But Comic Sans was actually designed for kids, so it's okay for kids. We like it. The Devanagari, if you want to make it for Sanskrit, there's a few missing probably, but it's around 800 glyphs. Yes, the Devanagari is quite big because they have this thing that you have to put letters together. They make conjuncts and they kind of touch each other, but you have to draw them, even if they are based on the base characters. So it's like 800, you can have more. It really depends on what you want to support. You can have 500. Then when you write, it will depend, no? But the Malayalam and Tamil is a bit smaller. They're like 500. The Latin, usually Latin typeface, a good one, will be around 600 glyphs. So it's not such a big difference. If you have a font that only has like 200 characters, it's probably not very good. Yeah, you need to see if you need special support for languages. You need to find out what kind of, if you have all the weights you need, if you have, so that's important. Now, when you're choosing a typeface, it's not only about the looks, you have to see the inside of the font. That's why when you open and the accents are really bad, for Portuguese, it's really annoying when you have really bad accents, so the marks, diacritics. So you need to find good fonts that have nice diacritics if you want to use them properly. Any more?
How do you make the bold version of the font?
How does it work, the weights? I can show you. So we don't design all the weights separately. We design the thin and we design the extra bold. And then the software interpolates. Okay, so it's automatic. So yes, it would be too much work to draw all this, no? It would be 800 plus, 6, it would be crazy. No, we draw the extremes, and then you get the middle weights. Yeah, that's it's called interpolation. It's multiple master technology. It's quite old already, this technology. From digital, we're old. We're talking about the 90s. Okay, so digital type design only started in the 90s. We have a few very good designers in Portugal. Actually, we have very good type designers in Portugal. I'm not including myself. It's a very small country, but for the small country we have a very good contribution. Yeah, but that's interpolation. Okay.
What's your opinion as a type designer? I assume you sell, right?
Yeah.
What's your opinion on the current landscape of licensing and buying fonts, which is still a mess?
It's a really complicated question. Yeah, no, it's an amazing question. I like to talk about that. First, you have to think, okay, I'm going to buy. I'm not going to take it. And then when you decide that, you can go and check out the different ways. Yeah, but it's a bit messy, and there are many different people trying to figure out what can work. Like Font Stand, for example, they did this thing that you can rent fonts for a month. So you pay just like a tenth of the price. You pay like $5, $6 to use the font for 6 months or for 1 month. And if you use it for 12 months, you actually paid for the whole font and you can have it forever. They have this rent thing, and you can test the font. It's like most foundries now are giving font font for testing. Like you can before you buy, you can pay like $3 and you get a version that's just for testing. So it doesn't have all the characters, it doesn't have everything, but you can test it. So that's a way that people are going around. But still, the licensing, it's what it is. No, you buy it, you can get it forever. so you have to pay. But you get it forever, no? So it's a piece of software that it will not go bad, it will not go out of fashion if you choose properly. It's like, again, like trends in fashion. You have to have the basics, and then you can buy some different fonts for more flashy things. So you have to build your own library. You don't have to buy them all.
Yeah, but sometimes you buy it and then you can use it on the web.
Okay.
You don't just use it on the web.
Okay.
A lot of times you buy it and you can't even like test it, install it on your machine.
Okay, yeah, usually you cannot. You can install these versions that are for testing. But now the websites are allowing the testing as well, or you have the PDFs you can print. But I understand what you say about the licensing, but some of the companies are giving like one license for all. Like you just pay one license and you get web, e-publishing, and you get... But usually on the webs, on the foundries, it's quite clear. Now it's better than before. Some foundries are really good. Because I've been looking, because we're doing our own. Like Rosetta Type has a really good showing, like if you're just a freelancer, you get this license. It says there, or you're a publisher, you get this one, you need this one. If it's above like 50 users, then you need to get in touch, because you need to pay a bigger license. Because of course, I hope everybody knows. I know that in Portugal, this CTT, no, the mail, the post office, no, the company, like 20 years ago maybe, like Eric Spiekerman came to Portugal, and then he was looking, oh, that's my typeface, they didn't pay. Because they were using Meta, and then they were not paying a license. They probably had a freelancer license, like for $50 or something, or 100, and they didn't know that if your company is huge and you have it all computers, you need to pay a license according to that. Of course, in smaller quantities, not that complicated, but always contact the foundry if you have questions. Try to read the EULA, the license agreement, and understand what can you do, what you can't do. There's a nice website that it says what you can do, what you cannot do. So it's really simple. People are trying to simplify that. But in the end, you're always you're getting something forever, so you should be picky about it and ask and make us improve it again, like a community. We have to improve to communicate better with designers. So it's always good to have feedback. Yes.
How do you test your work? How do you get feedback? How do you select the people that you print and people read them?
Oh, these ones. We had a consultant for the Tamil and it's not mine.
No, I don't know where
We had a consultant for Tamil and Malayalam because I was not very fluent on the script. It was a colleague of mine, because everybody knows each other in type. It's a very, very small community. So she was working with me, and we did some testing. We did gave somebody to read, not a designer, no, because it's different. Someone that knows how to read and a designer that knows how to read. And this person just said, "Oh, it's really nice. I can read everything. It's really nice." So that was nice. But the most important feedback is from another designer. That she will tell you she knows exactly what you need. But for the Vanagari, I didn't have any feedback, because I already had the knowledge for that. It was easier.
Hi. I'm really excited to answer this question. When you begin work on a new font, what are your first steps? Like the very first things you do? Like where do you look for inspiration? What do you do to kind of begin the process? Well,
inspiration, you see it everywhere, no? When you're looking at other typeface history as well. But I'm more. I work more fixing problems. Like I think about it. How if I have to do this, how would I do it? So I start with that. I don't sketch a lot, so that's a myth that people sketch by hand, that do letters and nice letters. That's maybe for lettering artists. I do it a bit, but only to think about it, and then I go directly on the computer. For example, I am finishing a typeface, and it's a script, connected script, and it was a commission. It was just like, "Oh, why don't you do this?" And I was like, then you start looking at things and you go and find inspiration, I don't know, in images, photographies, posters, things that you see on the street, the way you like to write. It's very important as well to know the tools. Even if you don't use them for the computer, it's important to know how to do that. And then you start sketching on the computer and you test it. It's a bit like the characters we saw, no? For the game. You have to, but the characters here are really characters, so it's just an A, B, C. So you first start with a word, and then you test this word, and you see how it looks, and there we go. Until the end. It takes a while.
And how does it work, that process, when you're working as a team?
As a team. Yeah, it works really nice. It depends. For example, on the Tamil and Malayalam, for example, I started the Tamil and maybe Nathaniel started the Latin, and we had a similar idea of what we wanted, and then we check each other's work. We don't... And with Victoria as well, she would work on a few things, and we would have meetings, I don't know, every once a week, talking about the progress, and then we split work. It's very similar to other people work, but yeah, it's more vast, and we have lots of details to go through. But the creating process, the design, that's probably the question bigger, no? But we have to choose a way to go. We did some sketches for this one, and actually I did a few, and then Nathaniel did a few, and then we kind of knew what we wanted, and we started doing some glyphs. And that first part, it's really nice because it goes back and forth, or maybe I tweak here a little, then it's done. And when it's set, and then you just have to make the system go, because you create the concept idea, the small character size, very few letters, and then you apply the same system to everything. That's the hardest part, to make everything consistent. But I like before. There are many type designers still that work alone, and they are very like, I'm the author and I create my things and I have like my face. I don't think that's the case now anymore. I think it's much more collaborative, and people are working in teams, and they are like sharing the knowledge and sharing the space for creating. So this typeface is from both of us. We have a few designs that I did first, or it's mine, and we're publishing together, and he has some that he already started, and we're doing it. And even the ones we're doing together, sometimes it's more mine than him in the first concept, but in the end, the project goes back and forth, and we have to trust each other's skills.
Is it true that the first letter you do is the letter H? Or is that usually?
Well, everybody has their own things. I always do the A and N, and then D, so it's the DNA. But yeah, usually I do that. But some people might do a G because it's a different letter. I don't know. It really depends on the designer. But sometimes you do the ones you do one that it's very straight and has this very stable look, and then you do the A because it's more fun. And it's the letter that is more important for the typeface, because you use it a lot. Anymore. No, I'm happy with the questions. Okay, so go back to, thank you.